Thank you. How's everybody doing? I'm a little bit better, I think. It's been an intense week for some of us, yes? Yeah. You know, I keep sitting with and listening to, like, what is ours to do? What is mine to do? How are we being called? What is happening? And I think, we talked last week about it, living abundantly, and that's one piece, like that's, as I said last week, that's kind of the foundation, right? If we don't believe in infinite potential, infinite possibility, abundance of choices, I don't know about you, this week for me has been feeling like, things are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more pressed in. And I know not all of us may feel like they have a target on their back, but some of us do. So, it's funny, I haven't cried about this all week. I get up here and like, whoo, waterworks, right? So I have to figure out how to hold that abundance and yet make it intentional. And that's what I'm gonna try to talk about today. How do we bring intentionality to these ideas and concepts that kind of live up here? How do we actually bring them into time and into space, right? Because we all have the best of intentions, don't we? Even the people who are really pissing us off right now, they are moving and operating from what they understand to be the best of intentions. And I keep getting hooked up on that. So I just wanted to do a quick check-in for, last week, really trying to make this series practical. So the invitation was to actually step into some practices, right? Did you do any purging? Well, yeah, right? It's fun, actually. I threw out another pair of socks this morning. It was fun. I opened it up and I was like, hole, ouch. Didn't even think twice about it, right? Did you practice generosity daily? And looking for a place to actually share your talents and your time and it can be, I shared this one other time, it can be as simple as, are you just wiping up the bathroom for the next person in the public restrooms? Are you taking your focus off of just me, and I'm done using the bathroom and I gotta get to my next most important meeting? And are you thinking about the fact that we live in a communal experience? And I think that's some of what's been going on in our world, is that understanding of a communal experience is struggling. Did you share your reverse tithe? I got some beautiful emails from people telling me how powerful that practice was, to actually share with someone that they had impacted them in a way that enabled them to feel supported or loved or right? And just the invitation, as always, is just notice the resistance to receiving if someone tried to give you a tithe, right? Were you like, oh, no, that's not, all the polite things we were trained to say that actually diminish the gift that we're being given. So can we receive the gift? Thank you. And I'm so glad that we're able to connect that way. And that anything I said or did has had an impact on you that has enabled you to understand your true nature more fully. So some of us may struggle with the giving. Oh, I want that $20. I know what I could do with that $20. And some of us might struggle with the receiving, and some of us are struggling with both. Anybody in here struggling with both? So it's just an opportunity to notice what's coming up for you, what's alive for you. So how, the best of intentions, I'm going to purge. And did we actually really purge? Did we, I'm going to do this. Did we actually do X? Did we actually embrace it? Did we actually step into it? How many people, this is about the time of year, beginning of February, how are those resolutions going? Right? This is the point where there's sort of like this energy drop, right? Because we all have the best of intentions. So how can we support this? So I'm going to give us like sort of 4 points that we can focus on. Everything that we do here at Unity in Marin is really about trying to develop and cultivate and grow our spiritual and emotional intelligence. Right? How can we become more aware of what's alive within myself so I can become more aware of what might be alive for other people? And how can I grow my spiritual intelligence so I have a container to hold all of that fabulously wonderful emotional life? Because the two go hand in hand. That they've done studies that show that your emotional intelligence sort of caps out at a certain age, except those people who are growing their spiritual intelligence. And the people who are growing their spiritual intelligence see growth in their emotional intelligence. And I really believe that that's what this world is lacking right now. It's an emotional and spiritual intelligence, because it's complicated. Nothing's simple. Nothing's black or white. It's more complex than that. So the 4 pieces towards, living intentionally, which is also going to allow us to live consciously and ultimately allow us to live joyfully, is that we have to be open to being self-aware. And I know we all think we're self-aware, but part of being truly self-aware is knowing that you are never fully self-aware. Does that make sense? We are never fully self-aware. We all have our blind spots. We all have those places where we think we are all good, and we are so not good. So part of what the invitation is to an intentional life is that we are identifying where it is am I being called to grow? Where am I being called to transform? Maybe that's in our career. Maybe it's in our creative output. Maybe it's in our understanding of relationship, right? Maybe it's in understanding of our divinity. What is the area that there is that thing inside of you that's saying, this area? I think I know if you think you know everything, that's the area you need to focus on. Let's say it that way, right? Oh, I got that? Okay, time to dive back in. And then also look at those past patterns, right? Look at what the patterns have been, how they come around again, how you notice the same things playing out again and again and again. And then what we know and bring in Unity is that we're bringing vision to our life. Our intentionality is vision-oriented. It's not problem-oriented. We're not trying to solve a problem. We're trying to step into the place that we're being called to. So being open to who am I called to be? And maybe it's something that you felt like you were in the past, but you kind of lost it. Anybody feel like that? Maybe it's something you never had, ever in the past. But it's time to understand and explore and step out in new ways. And one of the distinctions that I want to make here between intention, how Unity, and how I'm talking about it, is a spiritually focused intention. It's not the intention of, I'm going to get the 20 things on my to-do list done today. You can make you can set those intentions for yourself, but that's not what I'm talking about. Does that make sense to everyone? So it's, what is the qualities you need to cultivate within yourself, rather than it being about an objective that you need to obtain. Can you feel the difference? So one gives us space. I'm growing into my spiritual capacity. And then the big one, because we all know this, we set an intention, I'm going to be healthy this year. And then what do we start to hear? We start to hear the voice saying, yeah, you've tried that before. That didn't really work, did it? Oh, you're going to get back on that cycle again? Okay. Right? The narratives that come up in our head, the stories that we fall into. So we want to be able to listen to them. We don't pretend they're not there, but we listen to them and we say, okay, you exist in my consciousness. You are creating a limitation about what is possible in my life. Okay, I see you, right? We need to be able to see it in order to transform it. And then the last piece is spiritual practice. Because what we want to do is meet those beliefs with the spiritual truth about who we are. So can you feel how this is the process? We got to wake up to something that we're being called to. We need to step into the vision of what we're being called to, not the grind of our day. And we need to support the qualities that we are, our divine qualities, the powers, the capacities we have. How do we grow those? And then from there, we're going to notice the resistance. And we're going to meet that with spiritual truth. Now, can you feel how if we say yes to this process, maybe we're not going to get caught on the roller coaster? Anybody in here try to get healthy, and then you do really, really well, and then it falls off? I'm going to raise my hand on that one, right? Anything that's problem-focused, instead of vision-focused, problem focus, my weight is a problem. My health is a problem. When we're focused on the problem, we get anxious about the problem. We create reactive responses to the problem. I have to exercise, I have to get on a diet, and I have to stop drinking, and no sugar ever at all. And you're on this reactive path, and guess what? It might even work. You start to lose weight. You start to feel better about yourself because there's no alcohol, there's no sugar, there's oh, I'm eating well, I'm feeling better. And then the problem goes away. So what happens to your anxiety about the problem if the problem goes away? The anxiety goes away. But the anxiety is what was fueling your focus, your commitment. So if the anxiety goes away, then guess what? All those behaviors go away too. And then all of a sudden, the problem reemerges. And then we get anxious about it. And we have the anxiety reactive response, and then the problem abates, and then the anxiety abates, and so we stop. So we want to break ourselves out of that cycle. And that's what we're doing by actually paying attention to what the resistance is. Actually paying attention to what's actually going on. What's the story? What's the narrative? So the spiritual practice, Unity has such amazing practices, right? Such amazing practices. One of our foundational practice is affirmations and negations. And it is designed to support you with 2 and 3, right? It's designed to support you with the vision, what qualities, and it's designed to allow you to meet the inner resistance with something that is actually true about who you are. So, and we can always go back to basics, right? Because this is where we ground ourselves. Sometimes this is all we can do is the basics. Anybody ever notice that? Sometimes it's all we can do in the moment. So we want our base, our foundation to be really strong. So an affirmation is a statement of affirmation, of declarations of truth around spiritual principles and divine ideas. Affirmations are spiritual truths, right? Grounded in spiritual understanding. And negations, which used to be called denials, but that was very confusing for people, so we now call them negations. Negations are a conscious choice to remove power from an old thought or a belief that we no longer wish to experience. Okay, so can you see how they work together? We have one that is affirming the truth of who we are, and we have the other that is saying, and I give no power to anything that has come before this moment. So here are some examples of affirmations. I am the vitality of divine life. There's a quality of power, life, bringing energy to all I do today. I am the power of abundance, seeking opportunities to share my gifts and talents. I am the discerning power of wisdom, listening deeply for my next steps. I am the unifying power of love, anchoring harmony in all my interactions today. So can you feel how these kinds of affirmations, can you feel how this is setting an intention for your day that is grounded in spiritual principles, grounded in the truth of who you are, not the not true of who you are? So the guideline for an affirmation is it's always in the first person. It's always I. It is a declaration of your divine identity. You are claiming something that is spiritually true about yourself. It is short, focused, and easily repeatable, right? You want something that can kind of stay with you all day long. It's why music is so important in our teaching, because music is basically those kinds of affirmations sung again and again and again and again, right? That repetition is so important for allowing ourselves to really embody something. It has to be in the present tense, and this is probably the hardest thing. Everyone wants to put it off in the future. I'm going to. I am becoming. No, I am. I am. Right? It's not off in the future. We are talking about the spiritual truth of who you are right now. And then you have to use the vocabulary that's personal to you. Like, it has to resonate for you. What works for me ain't gonna work for you. And that's fabulous, isn't it? You gotta find the words, you gotta find the language, you gotta find the juice, the meat that you kind of go, oh yeah, that. I've shared some of my journey with my back, and one of my processes led me to the affirmation, I am the miracle. Now that might not mean anything to anybody else, but when I say that affirmation, I know exactly what it means in my being. And then you want to focus on the what, not the how or the why. Again, affirmations are not about problem solving. Affirmations are the declarations of the truth of who you are. Unity's teachings, New Thought, has been incredibly successful in reaching out to the larger world. So you will often hear affirmation. I went online last night and I was like, affirmations around intentionality. All of them were grounded in our human experience. None of them were about the spiritual truth of who we are. In the translation from our teaching out to popular culture, that spiritual identity piece has been taken away. So what you hear are affirmations like, I love myself as I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's okay not to be okay. I am proud of myself for getting this far. I am allowed to say no to others and yes to myself. I will be kind to myself and others today. Now, there is nothing wrong with these affirmations. Let me be perfectly clear. You can absolutely say that to yourself. I'm going to be kind to myself and others today, right? But I want you to see if you can you feel how these are grounded in your human understanding of yourself? These aren't rooted in your spiritual identity. So you can feel I am allowed to say no to others and yes to myself. And comparing that with, I am the discerning power of wisdom, listening deeply for my next steps. Can you feel the energetic difference? You are being invited to actually claim your spiritual self. You are being invited to stand as the quality of wisdom. So we have affirmations. We are affirming something, but that doesn't necessarily quiet down the little voices in our heads, right, that come up. In fact, the more clear your affirmation is about claiming your divine identity, the louder those voices might become. So this is the pairing that we use, which is the negations. And what we mean by negations is to remove the power of. We are choosing to no longer empower that belief to impact our life. We are choosing to remove the power that that belief has over how we decide and move through the world. So that could be beliefs that you have about the permanence of our circumstance. How many times do we get caught in, this is never going to end? It's always going to be like this, forever and ever and ever and ever. Negative interpretations that something is missing, wrong, or broken in our life. Now, this is a big one. Don't get me wrong, I love transpersonal psychology does a lot more, but in the psychological world, there's often a focus on identifying what's wrong, right? This was broken. Your connection to a loving parent was broken. What we understand in unity is that nothing is ever broken. And that may not have been ideal. We are not denying that whatever that relationship was may have been way less than nurturing and way less than anything else. And we can understand that I can cultivate that kind of connection for myself right now. I'm not a victim of what those things were. And the negative beliefs about those things can really lock us in and make us think that it's always going to be this way because of my mother or my father or my grandmother or that experience that I had or the, right? We're being invited to open up to infinite potential. That a condition or a situation is our identity. This one's big, right? You get sick and you feel as if whatever is the health challenge is you. It takes, especially if you're in the midst of chronic pain, which I know what that is like, and it's like it can become everything. Believing what everyone knows, right? Everyone says that that's not possible. It's known, it's understood that you can't do something like that. Oh, no, don't step out that way, because we all know that that would be a really bad choice for you to make. And then the last one, which I think is really the big one, right? Beliefs that we're not worthy or deserving of love, basically. I think that's all, right there is all of our root issues, right? That we, on some level, do not believe that we are worthy and deserving of love, worthy and deserving of sharing our love, of receiving our love. So, do we want to keep giving power to these ideas? But they can be really like entrenched, right? So it means that we have to practice. We can't just do it once and we're done. We're going to have to keep coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it. So here are the same affirmations with some negation added in. I am the vitality of divine life, bringing energy to all I do today. Old patterns have no power as I awaken to life and move forward with purpose and passion. I am the power of abundance, seeking opportunities to share my gifts and talents. Any resistance falls away as I willingly open to my abundance by giving fully and freely. I am the discerning power of wisdom, listening deeply for my next steps. I listen past habitual fears and doubts and align with the wisdom of my heart. I am the unifying power of love, anchoring harmony in all my interactions. I release any habitual impulses to judge and criticize. I now open to the divine nature of all I meet. Can you feel how they pair with each other and how important negations are? I cannot tell you how many people just use affirmations. You have to consciously say, I am not giving, this is intentionality. I am not giving power to this. I see it, I recognize it, I know it's there, and I am not giving power to this to be the thing that is driving my decisions, that is driving my choices. Can you feel how all of this can then support your actually being able to maybe live into some of your intentions? Because you have a tool. And you can use any part of this, right? Remember, it's supposed to be easily repeatable. What I have often found is that I do the affirmation, I do the negation, and it's actually the next sentence that becomes my affirmation. That make any sense? So I am the discerning power of wisdom, listening deeply for my next steps. I listen past habitual fears and doubts. So if I find myself in a situation where I can sense it arising, I say, I am listening past this fear, this doubt. And right now, I am aligning with the wisdom of my heart. So that it's an immediate panacea to whatever might be arising for you. You have something right at your fingertips. It does ask that we're able to be self-aware enough to be like, oh, there's that fear again. That's why we want to acknowledge it. We want to say, oh, the fear is coming up. Okay, I am listening past this fear. Is making sense to everyone? So we have self-awareness, right? Identifying where you want to grow. We believe you have choice. Where do you want to grow? What's calling you right now? Pick one, don't pick 5, pick one, because they're all interconnected. So if you just pick one, that one is going to impact every aspect of your life. Does that make sense? So you don't have to focus on 5 different things, just focus in one arena. Who are you called to be? What are the qualities, what capacities, what divine sense of yourself do you want to cultivate? What would be useful? That's the question I always ask. What quality of the divine would be useful for me right now to be able to step into this area of growth and transformation? Listen for the resistance. Listen for the limiting beliefs. Don't ignore them. And then craft affirmations and negations that meet that space within you. And this work is incredibly personal. So while you can look at affirmations that might be out there for other people, you need to craft this so that it meets you. So a lot of it's trial and error, and that's okay. You can have an affirmation, a negation, you can go out in the world, and you're repeating it to yourself, and it's not doing a darn thing, right? We get to be compassionate with ourselves, and we get to say, okay, there's something else going on. I thought it was about fear of this, but no, it's not quieting. So what do I need to bring to that part of myself that's so afraid right now? Right? So the whole point of Unity's teachings is that you get to craft the path that's in service to your own greatest good. You get to say, this is where I want to place my focus. This is what I'm going to be looking for. This is what I want to cultivate in myself. So if you're focused on an objective, I want $1 million in the bank, can you feel how you've already limited yourself? But if you're focusing on the objective of, I want to be the most abundant, prosperous being, I want to live fully into the overflow. Well, all of a sudden, it's not just about the $1 million in the bank account. It's about everything in your life that you're being invited to explore. So let's take this into a time of meditation. I want to just invite everyone to sort of sit with this question, right? As we close our eyes and just allow ourselves to listen. What is trying to arise? Where are we being called to place our intentionality? Where are we being called to step out in a new way? What is that area of our life that it's time to step into it? It's time to step away from what has served us till this moment. We give great gratitude and love to everything that brought us to this moment. And what is it that we are being called? Who have you come here to become? Because this journey of the revelation of our Christ Buddha nature, it's never done. It's not linked to our chronological age. It is this space, this place. That is why we're here in time and in space. What are the qualities that you know you're being called to cultivate in new ways? Maybe it's a quality that you have great mastery over, but it's time to expand your understanding. Maybe it's a quality that you've always avoided. Oh, that makes me too nervous. What are the qualities that you want to cultivate within yourself? And as we rest here in the silence for a few moments, I just want you to listen. Listen for the resistance. Listen for the story that says, oh, no, no, no. That's just not possible. And just allow that to just be. So let's rest together and listen deeply. From this place of that deep listening, how do you hold yourself in spiritual truth? How do you meet whatever those fears, those doubts, those worries, those limiting beliefs, how do you meet those with spiritual truth? What can you truly know that will quiet, that will soothe, that will heal that space within ourselves that doesn't understand our true nature and our true name? What is it that you need to hear? What are you going to affirm about yourself that can allow you to move through this world this coming week with intentionality, with a new clarity and a new focus? with this powerful gift of affirmations and negations, which you can be doing moment to moment to moment to moment. It is your life buoy in the midst of the seas that is this human experience. How good it is to know that our willingness is enough. And that from this space of yes, that the affirmations and that which we no longer wish to give power to may do the work so that we may reveal the truth of who we are. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.